Hello, hello, and welcome back to Minotaur Hotel. I do not know which one of these I want to go to. Like, we have the thing for him, but this is new. And it's day 5. I don't actually know how many more days we have left to do. And I don't, I mean, this could be lead to nowhere, right? Since it's just some guy we don't know that's like, maybe I'll tell you. Well, at least this is like, well, it's connected to the thingy, right? So okay. With the chest of bones in the back seat, a silence as heavy as a coffin door permeated the car, and not even the usual scrape of Storm's horns against the ceiling could budge me. The silence alone kept us from acknowledging the possibility that an opportunistic cannibal might try to do the same with the Minotaur and I, should we ever meet with a similar regrettable incident. Bringing peace of their spirits would be a tall order for anyone, doubtably so for the grandson of the man who enabled their massacre. Thankfully, all the brain needs is a familiar outlet to keep pretending nothing is amiss. Matters of purity and defilement have long been second nature to me. As an occultist and a mythical, the logistics of our task were enough to keep me occupied. I couldn't say the same for Storm, who squirmed in his seat and tried to lean away from the chest sitting behind him. Hollowed ground might have been our best shot for getting anything resembling a Christian burial, but it's not like I could pay for a funeral, or even a plot of land to bury them legitimately. Likewise, questions would surely arise as the nature of the remains, if any else, were to see them. I had no intention of playing the Colonel's accomplice or getting caught writing a wrong 2 generations old. From a ritualistic standpoint, all I could do was go back to the place it happened, retracting the road's fateful spiral down to an otherwise unremarkable patch of land at the bottom of the skinned tapir. As we drew closer, I dug out 2 paper clips from the glove compartment. I handed one to Storm and then started working the other between my fingers. Every little bit helps, I reckon.
So, this is it. Where they died.
Yep. Shot down, all 12 of them, in an ambush during the night. Then the Colonel took their corpses and did what he did.
Does eating folks like us really make you more immortal?
Considering how old the Colonel was, there might have been something to it after all. But don't worry about it. It's not something most people would know about, and even a fewer would even think to try it. The Colonel was a special case. Pity there wasn't enough to save him from his gold digger of a wife, if the gossip is to be believed. Storm opened the car's trunk and pulled out the shovels we brought.
So, we're giving him a Christian burial, right? We better start digging. I don't want to be out here when it gets dark.
Right. Let's get started. Okay. The dig was slow and miserable. 30 minutes went by, and we'd only just barely cleared the topsoil. Given the lack of roots to the hold the dirt together. I had hoped the barren grounds would yield with little effort, but instead we had to contend with a thrice damned salt, stagnating land and water alike, resisting every ounce of change. As such, every blow was accompanied by a crystallized crunch, which the shovel's blade managed to rip through, and hidden latent a hidden lattice underground. By the time the hole was up to my knees, the now familiar funk of a summer barnyard hung heavy in the air. In such close quarters, it was impossible to miss the sweaty beating on Storm's brow, or the dampness soaking through my shirt. Neither he or I fit to talk about it. And soon enough, olfactory fatigue set in, and we forgot our own stench while we worked. Embodied by shared purpose and shared suffering, we soldiered on. We tried to ignore the sting of recoil from each blow, the forming blisters on our hands, and the general mounting exhaustion. We dug for the 12, for the hotel and our futures. If all goes well, I thought, all wounds shall issue into blessings. The topsoil quality continued to degrade, and along with it, the stability of our would-be grave. The layer of salt and silt. Okay. Breathed the loam threatened to collapse in on us with every fresh spadeful we removed. It was all I could do to stabilize the walls while Storm climbed out. Once Prudence forced us to throw in the towel. Storm huffed and puffed and dragged the chest over to the hole. Together, we lowered it down as carefully as we could. At least it nestled pretty comfortably in the sandy layer we'd dug into. A Storm pulled me back out, and we were left panting from our exertion for a few moments. As soon as we had caught our breaths, it was time to begin the funeral rite. I picked up a handful of dirt, motioned for Storm to do the same, and held it out in front of me.
You all didn't deserve what happened to you. I'm sorry for what my grandfather did. I hope your spirits can rest easy now, at least a little bit.
I dropped the dirt onto the chest.
I hope you are getting more mercy from God than now than you were got from people in life.
A Storm dropped his dirt as well. A single moth flew between our shoulders and paused in its journey to weave and bob before the grave. Finally, it flew around the hole, fluttering off into the distance as quick as its wings could carry it. What exactly were we supposed to make of that? We took another quick breath, and then resumed the work of covering the grave again. Thankfully, that didn't take nearly as long. Afterwards, a Storm gathered a number of stones to line the grave. I, meanwhile, returned to the car and retrieved the sunken church's cross from its spot in the back seat. The cross was a good size, and 2 hand lengths tall. Okay. And still sturdy despite spending decades underwater. Together we managed to prop it up at the center of the mound, with some more stones and salted earth. A fine Christian burial marker, if I'd ever seen one.
We should probably say some kind of prayer.
We both bow our heads and close our eyes. Silently, I recited every prayer and doxology I could remember for sure.
May your souls rest in peace. Amen.
We stood there for a minute, waiting for something to happen. Storm opened a single eye and looked around, then bit his lip and flicked his ears.
Nothing's happening.
I know.
Is this how it's supposed to go?
No clue. I've never done this sort of thing before.
Then, the hotel should be popping up somewhere around here now, right?
I don't know if that's how that would work, but we can't rule it out. It seems like a place to start, at least. We drove all around the area. No luck. The hotel was nowhere to be seen. The surrounding land was just as desolate as before, but felt even more so in the sweat-soaked darkness, and the silence which permeated the car before had been replaced with the silence of fruitless exhaustion. Even if the hotel really was somewhere out there, I don't think either of us would have seen it in the state we were in. Defilement. Okay. The Storm had been tapping his hooves to the rhythm of each pothole we went over when we encountered a roaming cloud of butterflies. The little bastards had moved halfway onto the road, and when I tried to drive around a handful or made a beeline towards the car, a Storm braced himself, and I sped ahead to get away from the swarm, but a good amount of the things still managed to squeeze their way in, although through the cracked open windows or the AC vents. I pulled over onto the shoulder, and the two of us spent a few minutes flailing around to get them either out of the car or smashed.
Fuck! Goddamn cocksucking vermin.
That the last of them.
Yeah, boss.
Okay. You so...
No, bugs are gonna get us to crash the car now.
We drove on. Still nothing. We both kept a watch on the distant landscape for some clue, some inkling of progress. At some point during our, search, Storm turned to me.
Say, how long do you reckon it'd take me to get a high school diploma?
It's meant to take 3 years, but they may be some school that do expedited programs for people your age. No idea how long it'd take if you do online schooling, though, if that's an option.
Why the hell would I do it with a computer? I've always wanted to go through a high school. It looks so cool in the movies.
Oh my god.
Everyone's having a good time, singing, playing football, and going to prom, and all of them schools that look so nice and pretty with the big old lockers down the hallways. Hell, if my charm keeps working this well, I might even get to be a homecoming king, or maybe I'll start a garage band if I can find a garage nearby. You ever play electric guitar, P? Do you have a garage?
I couldn't suppress a tiny chuckle. Storm's ears droop a bit at the sound. Hey, if someone's gotta disappoint him, better me than someone who'll actually fuck him up. Sorry to disappoint, but Brazilian schools are nothing like American movies. Not sure if my experience was the norm, but everyone was miserable back in my school. For starters, if you tried singing like some kind of fag, you'd get sucker punched like one. We didn't have sports or a gym. Hell, we barely even got any sun or exercise at all. The hallways were all 1.5 meters wide too, so no lockers anywhere. As for prom, I skipped out on that bullshit entirely. I didn't want to spend a single second longer than I had to around my classmates. We were all sick to death of each other. The last day of school had everyone crying about how they'd keep in contact and all that, and then no one even bothered to get together again.
Aw, what about those yellow buses?
No way.
Damn. What did you have did you have to wear a uniform too?
Of course, we didn't get to go to school in just any clothes we wanted.
Did you have some cool kids, though? And the nerds, the jocks, the punks, and the bitchy girls.
Kid, they worked off our asses off at that school. We didn't have the time or energy for any of the cliched bullshit. We did have a few major cunts, though, as all schools do.
Oh, I know that already. I'm talking to one of them right now. Boss.
Okay, that was a good one. I'll let it pass.
Whew, thank God. I was thinking you'd skin me alive.
Nah, I know I'm a cunt. Guilty as charged. The kid still seems pensive, looking more into himself than out the darkening landscape. Yeah, guilty as fucking charged. Only a major cunt like you would keep the kid scared to talk back and tell you what you deserve to hear. I breathe deep inside. Have any other questions about school?
Oh, yeah, so, there were the jock and punk, cliques at your school, but...
Is this supposed to be cliques or I don't know.
But did you have something like a group of mythicals?
Would that have helped any? Would there have been any inherent camaraderie there? Or would it have just fed more bitterness into our direction? No, there aren't that many of us.
Damn. What about the teachers? Did you have any of those real tough ones who do care about you deep down? And were rooting for you all along and all that?
I did, but not every school is like that. Plus, it doesn't help as much as you might think. I had some buddies who had a rough home life, but got real close to the teachers who helped them a lot. But that could go real bad when you graduate, and you can't really talk to them like you did. It can fuck you over. Teens can be fragile like that.
Man, your school sounds boring. What was it even like to actually go there anyway?
It was a sort of cram school for university entrance exams. The kind that needs a therapist on site 24/7 because students are just having breakdowns left and right. Okay. We had some good teachers, yeah, and they'd push us to our limits and beyond every day, from start to finish, because that's how you pass the harder exams, of course. I'd go to school around 6:30 a.m. and spend all day there having classes and studies and get out at 8 p.m. Then I'd go to some extra math classes until 11 p.m. or so. Rinse and repeat 5 times a week, with a lighter schedule on Saturdays. We did get off Sundays though, because giving the students some time to rest increased exam performance.
Jesus fucking Christ, that sounds like hell. Did you even have time to sleep?
I don't sleep, remember. If anything, that meant I had it easy. Got myself 8 extra hours of free time every day.
Oh, okay.
What'd you do with those 8 hours?
Did you at least have a garage band?
Nah, my dad didn't like me having hobbies or distractions. I tried learning the guitar when I was a kid, but that didn't last long. Mom thought it'd be better for my future if I learned Spanish instead.
So you didn't have a band, but did you have a garage?
Well, my apartment building, it does have a garage, but it's shared with everyone else, so you can't really play instruments there. The kid was clearly of two minds by that point. I could read it plain on his face as he tossed around options in his head, leaving certain questions unasked, and maybe I started to feel a little overwhelmed. He didn't look over to me when he asked. Wait, he did? He didn't look over at me. Okay.
Do I really have to go to high school? It sounds horrible.
Yeah, that's right, you prick. Destroy his passion for learning. Keep yourself on top and grind his face down in the dirt. Makes you feel real goddamn big, don't it? What are you trying to turn him into your dumb, muscly lackey? Like you're some kind of cartoon villain? You fucking joke. We could look for a less sucky one when all of this is over with. You definitely won't have to go through the same shit I did. His ears drooped less, and I could see a smile struggling onto his lips. Say, have you given any thought to what you'd like to do for work? You ever dream of having a certain job or anything? He finally turned back towards me.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what I want to be. A musician.
That's so cute. You feeling awfully cheeky tonight, aren't you? If I had laughed openly at that, I would have never forgiven myself.
It's my rebellious phase. Now that you're telling me high school just sucks. But yeah, I really do want to be a musician. I know there are schools for that and all, and I'd like to think I'd have some talent. I know it doesn't bring in a lot of money, but hey, I'm used to living with a little. If it don't pay the bills, I can do some odd jobs too, now that I have a charm. I don't even need people to remember me or anything. I'd be happy just composing and recording my music. Back when I was in the big city, I saw this guy selling his new age ambient hip hop album on the street corner. If push comes to shove, I could do that.
We'll see. One step at a time. Though, first, we find the hotel. When that's done, we'll look into getting you into school and learning an instrument. Now, less talking and more searching. If we find that place, I get what I want. I'll buy you a guitar or something. His eyes brained at that.
Aye aye, boss.
A positive reinforcement seems to be working out pretty damn well, actually. Both the kid and I were in a much better mood throughout the rest of our drive that night. Maybe we were only a stone's throw from the goddamn hotel, or maybe I was just hoping some of his eagerness rubbed off on me, or maybe you were just fishing for appreciation and ass pats. Ass pat? Okay. Either way, even if we didn't find what we were looking for, we'd made a plan for afterwards, and for a little while at least, I could pretend I was capable of doing something good. We set out earlier than usual that morning. Everything seems to be going just right. The air had a refreshing humidity to it, but not enough to attract mosquitoes. I even felt a little breeze coming in through the window. When Storm and I got out of the room, there were 4 moths resting on the outside of the door. An auspicious sign, if I've ever seen one. They fluttered their wings and wiggled their antenna at us. For some reason, I couldn't shake the feeling that they were waiting for something. To top it off, no one seemed to notice I kept the Hail Mary mug. A heist of the year, that. There was one issue: no breakfast. Quality fucking service right there.
Yeah, ran into the owner earlier, and he explained the situation. Remember that guy you found passed out in the kitchen the day before yesterday?
Yes. He seemed like a decent enough fellow.
Well, the owner calls him druggy, and he told me that guy ain't coming back anytime soon. The one who made yesterday's breakfast was the owner's daughter, and she don't feel like doing it no more. So basically, we're on our own now. No, and no refunds.
How nostalgic. It's just like when I visited as a kid. So many memories.
He also said he's thinking of closing the inn down for a while.
What? Just because he's missing one employee?
Nah, it's cause something else entirely. Said something bad's gonna happen soon, and he's probably skipping town till it blows over. Apparently, there's a big mess going on at the Colonel's mansion. His family's all there and having a whole ass crisis with his a widow over the inheritance. The owner's afraid it's about to get violent, and he'd rather not be here when shit goes down.
The feathers on the back of my neck ruffle, and my fingers tighten their grip on the steering wheel. We might have to change our plans, depending on how that goes.
Why? What's the worst that could happen? They get in a fight and someone gets a black eye.
One loses one, more like it, and a couple other important parts. According to my grandpa, things could get real bloody with when the colonel's family gets involved. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, scrounging up some breakfast. You said you had a couple of ideas, right?
Yeah, everybody always says no trip to Hinterland is complete without a visit to Lala's farm for a good homemade cooking.
Just how good is her food exactly?
No clue. You think she let me in?
Look at that. Another use for a charm, allowing you to experience the joy of tasting Lala's greasy cheese.
Shit, just hope it's not cow cheese.
Afraid of cannibalism?
Ah, don't be a cunt. I like milk. I know milk ain't, like, part of a cow. I just get a tummy ache from cheese sometimes.
A tummy ache? What are you, 5? Well, let's head over and see what kind of home cooking she has. I'll end the part here, so I'll see you around, everyone.